Let me tell you a quiet truth most people won't say out loud. It's not just about the bathroom. It's about being robbed night after night of the most sacred thing an aging body can cling to: uninterrupted rest. If you're over 60 and find yourself waking up once, twice, even 4 times a night to urinate, you're not just losing sleep. You're losing strength, memory, peace, and most heartbreakingly, you're losing time. I've sat beside too many seniors who looked at me across the clinic room, eyes heavy with exhaustion and hearts full of frustration, asking the same quiet question. Why can't I just sleep like I used to? They described the night like a battlefield. A moment of drifting peace interrupted by urgency. A race to the toilet down darkened hallways. The stumble. The fall. The fear. The ache. And in the morning, not clarity, not renewal, but fog, soreness, and a lingering sense that the body has betrayed them once again. We call it Nocturia in medicine. But you might call it a thief. Because it steals the deepest hours of your healing, those sacred nighttime phases when your muscles repair, your heart slows down to recover, and your brain files memories into long-term storage. And yet here you are. Waking up again. And again. And again. But hear me now, what if I told you that help doesn't only come in the form of a pill bottle or another sleepless appointment? What if I told you that 3 simple vegetables, humble, ordinary, forgotten on grocery shelves, can begin to restore what has been stolen? Because they don't just help your bladder. They speak to your kidneys, your blood sugar, your nervous system, your hormones, all the silent machinery that governs when and how your body decides. It's time to go. And our first vegetable? It's been trying to help you all along. Cucumber. Now, I know what you're thinking. Really, doctor? Cucumber? That watery, flavorless slice on a sandwich? But let me show you what you haven't seen. You see, when your kidneys are fatigued, which they often are after decades of blood pressure fluctuations, sugar surges, or even mild dehydration, they start misfiring. They stop concentrating urine like they used to. They let more water go, even at night, when they're supposed to slow down. And cucumber, in its unassuming way, offers a lifeline. It doesn't just hydrate you, it nourishes your kidney tubules, allowing for smoother filtration. It contains potassium and silica, minerals that act like gentle balancers of your internal tides. Even more crucially, cucumbers are a mild diuretic. That might sound counterintuitive. Why eat a diuretic when you want to stop peeing? But the truth is, the right diuretic taken at the right time helps your body shed excess fluid during the day, not at night. It resets the rhythm. It tells your body, flush now, while the sun is up, so we may rest when the stars are out. You're not just eating a vegetable. You're whispering instructions to your kidneys. You're saying, please, hold through the night. And when paired with healthy habits, like eating your last salty meal earlier, or lifting your legs to reduce fluid pooling before bed, cucumbers become part of a healing ritual. And yes, toss them in lemon juice. Let the citric acid reduce oxidative stress in your blood vessels. Yes, add a few mint leaves, cooling the nervous system, aiding digestion, reducing the spikes in cortisol that make your bladder twitch at night. The second vegetable has long been overlooked too. It's zucchini. Soft, tender, hydrating, and rich in magnesium, a mineral more than 70% of older adults are quietly deficient in. And here's the deeper truth: magnesium isn't just good for your heart or bones. It directly calms the detrusor muscle of the bladder, the very muscle that tightens in the middle of the night to tell you it's time to get up. When magnesium is low, the bladder overreacts to even the smallest amount of urine. It becomes like an anxious child tapping your shoulder in the middle of the night for reassurance, even when there's nothing wrong. Zucchini tells that child, you're safe. You can sleep now. Its high water content means it hydrates without overwhelming. Its fiber gently slows digestion, flattening out the spikes in blood sugar that tug at your kidneys to filter more. And if you roast it, spiralize it, sauté it with garlic and olive oil, zucchini becomes more than medicine. It becomes comfort. Warm. Nourishing. Safe. I had a patient, 81 years old, who began eating zucchini soup in the early evening instead of salty crackers and cheese. Within 2 weeks, he went from 4 bathroom trips a night to 1. Just 1. He cried when he told me. Not because of the zucchini, but because he could remember his dreams again. Now, dreams may seem like a small thing, but they are not. They are your subconscious rebuilding. They are your soul stretching out after long, waking years. And if a vegetable can help you reclaim that, tell me it's not worth making room on your plate. But I'm not done yet. Because the third vegetable may be the most powerful of them all. It is green, leafy, and often neglected unless you're watching your iron levels. Spinach. Spinach is not just iron and folate. It is magnesium, potassium, vitamin C. And most importantly, it is fluid balancing, anti-inflammatory, and blood sugar stabilizing. In diabetics, even mild swings in glucose can trigger nighttime urination. Your kidneys, overburdened with glucose, try to flush it out, waking you from your deepest slumber. But spinach, with its fiber and its ability to improve insulin sensitivity, acts like a stabilizer. A leveler. It slows down the sugar, telling your kidneys, we're okay now. You don't have to panic. You can rest. And rest, my dear friend, is not a luxury. It is your medicine. It is your right. The potassium in spinach also works to reduce sodium-induced fluid retention, another trigger for nocturia. When you eat a sodium-heavy meal and sit all day, your body holds onto water. And then, like a cruel trick, it releases that water the moment you lie down. But when you nourish your body with potassium, you restore balance. You tell your cells, let go of what you don't need. But let it go before the night comes. Spinach smoothies. Lightly sautéed spinach with garlic. Even a warm spinach lentil stew. These are not just meals. They are lullabies for your organs. They're how you say to your bladder, you've done enough. You can sleep now, too. I remember a woman named Eleanor, 84, thin silver hair swept back like silk, hands that once baked for 7 grandchildren. She came to me not for pain or weakness, but for exhaustion. Doctor, she said, I don't mind aging. But I do mind waking up in the dark 5 times a night, just to sit on a cold toilet and cry. She whispered those words like a confession. What she didn't realize was that her experience wasn't a failure of aging, it was a failure of care. Because nocturia is not an inevitability. It is a message. And often, it's the bladder's way of saying, I'm overwhelmed. For Eleanor, I suggested a small shift. Half a cup of sautéed spinach 2 hours before bed. A slice of roasted zucchini in the evening. And a glass of cucumber lemon water around 5 p.m., but never right before sleep. 2 weeks later, she returned. Her voice lighter. Her face brighter. I still wake up, she said, but just once. And I fall back asleep. And I don't cry anymore. Now, that may seem like a simple victory to some. But to Eleanor and to so many like her, it was a restoration of agency. The power to rest. The power to rise with clarity. The quiet dignity of choosing how to spend the night hours, not being ruled by them. And let me be clear, there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Some of you listening today may have enlarged prostates. Some may deal with overactive bladder, diabetes, or low estrogen. All of these affect the bladder's sensitivity and capacity to hold. But what ties them all together is the underlying strain on the body's balance. So what do these 3 vegetables, cucumber, zucchini, and spinach, actually do? They reduce that strain. They hydrate without overloading. They provide fiber without bulk. They stabilize insulin without sugar crashes. And they reduce inflammation, silently healing the very tissues that tighten in urgency when irritated. You see, your bladder isn't broken. It's just inflamed. Over-signaling. Misfiring like a violin string pulled too tight. And nature has always known how to loosen that string. Now, let's go even deeper. There's a second part of this story most people overlook. The kidneys. 2 bean-shaped organs, each the size of your fist, sitting quietly behind your ribs. They filter 50 gallons of blood every single day. And yet, we rarely think about them until they stop working properly. But they are the silent guardians of your bladder. When they're tired, your bladder pays the price. And cucumbers, spinach, and zucchini all share one unique quality: they love your kidneys. They bring them water, but not too much. Potassium, but not too little. Antioxidants that sweep away the debris of aging cells, like janitors who come in when the world sleeps. And here's the remarkable part: when your kidneys begin to feel safe, when inflammation is reduced, and when salt is balanced, they begin to time the release of urine more effectively. That means less urination at night. And a quieter body overall. But I need you to hear this next part with open ears and a hopeful heart. Changing your health after 60, 70, even 80 years is not too late. Your bladder is not doomed. Your nights are not lost. Because your body still responds to nourishment. Always. In fact, the older body, when given the right signals, especially through food, responds faster than you might think. You may notice changes in just days. Not because of miracle cures. But because your body has been waiting, for decades, for you to hear what it's been trying to say. I don't need punishment. I need support. And food, true, living food, is support. It is not just calories. It is instruction. Instruction for your hormones. Your nerves. Your sleep cycles. Your kidneys. Your bladder. And so many of the symptoms you believe are just part of aging are actually signals of imbalance waiting to be soothed. There is one more thing I must say: from years of listening, years of watching healing happen slowly, beautifully, in rooms with fluorescent lights and trembling hands. Healing does not come only from spinach and zucchini. It comes from rhythm. From choosing to eat dinner 2 hours earlier. From limiting fluids 1 hour before bed. From lifting your legs above your heart for 10 minutes in the evening to drain excess fluid. It comes from placing a warm compress over your lower belly before sleep, signaling calm to the detrusor muscle of your bladder. It comes from learning the breath again: deep, full, nourishing. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. And feel your whole parasympathetic system, the healing branch, activate like a wave of gentle night. Because when you teach your body that nighttime is for restoration, it learns. Yes, even now. Even after the heartaches. The surgeries. The lost spouses. The hospital visits. The years you thought were too late to matter. They still matter. And so do you. And while cucumbers, zucchini, and spinach may seem like humble tools on the plate of someone who chooses them with intention, they become sacred instruments. And you? You become the conductor of your own peace again. There's something sacred that happens when an older adult begins to reclaim their sleep. It's not just about the bladder or the kidneys anymore. It's about a sense of trust. A quiet voice inside that begins to whisper, I am safe again. I can rest again. I can heal again. I've seen it in the way a man walks into my clinic after sleeping through the night for the first time in years, shoulders no longer hunched, eyes no longer swollen from fatigue. I've seen it in the trembling relief of a woman who no longer fears falling in the dark hallway between her bed and the bathroom. And I've seen it in the handwritten notes slipped under my door, in the shaking script of someone's father or grandmother. Thank you, doctor. I thought this was just part of getting old. But I was wrong. My nights are mine again. You see, sleep is not a luxury. It is your restoration. It is your quiet rebuild. While the world turns and the windows darken, your blood pressure drops, your immune cells sharpen, your memories are sorted and stored. Muscles knit themselves back together. Bones harden their lattice. Even your skin, your very appearance, rejuvenates when you sleep soundly. And what interrupts all of this? Not just noise, not just stress, but that unrelenting, unnecessary call to the bathroom. That premature summons that pulls you away from the river of healing you were floating in. Let me speak to your heart now, because I know some of you listening are tired in ways even your family doesn't understand. Tired of nights. Tired of managing pills and watching the clock? Tired of waking up unsure of where you are, afraid of slipping on the cold floor, or worse, afraid of never making it back to sleep? I want you to know that your body is not broken. It's overwhelmed, overworked, overstimulated. And it's begging you not for another chemical, not for another overnight pad or side effect ridden drug, but for something ancient. Something quiet. Something green. Spinach, with its gentle diuretic and deeply nourishing minerals. Zucchini, with its silky, water-rich body and magnesium-rich calm. Cucumber, with its cooling, anti-inflammatory whispers to the kidneys. These are not superfoods because of marketing. They are healing because they speak the body's native language. A language many of us forgot long ago, but which your cells never stopped understanding. And here's a secret, it's not just the bladder that listens when you begin to feed it well. Your brain does too. There's a direct link, what we call the gut-bladder-brain axis. When your gut is inflamed, when your insulin is erratic, when your blood is full of inflammatory cytokines, your brain wakes more easily. It loses track of melatonin. It misreads thirst. It misfires urgency. It thinks bathroom when what you needed was simply balance. But the moment your meals shift, when your plate goes from boxed and fried to sautéed and grown, everything starts to calm. You begin to notice that instead of 3 wake-ups, you now have 1. Instead of groaning from the bed in the middle of the night, you stay cocooned in warm stillness. And it's not magic. It's biology, supported by care. Spinach increases magnesium, which calms overactive nerve signals. Zucchini flushes excess sodium and balances potassium, allowing fluid to exit gently during the day. Cucumber reduces edema and oxidative stress on the kidneys, lowering that background pressure that so often triggers the nocturnal urge. And when you add breath to this, and ritual, and early dinners and soft evening lights, you are not just changing your diet. You are changing your destiny. Because let's talk plainly, chronic sleep disruption is not a mild nuisance. It is a risk factor. It raises the chances of falls, of memory decline, of cardiovascular events. It increases loneliness and even depression. When seniors lose sleep, they lose agency, confidence. They withdraw from the world, not just socially, but physiologically. But when sleep is restored, you return. Your sense of self sharpens. Your energy, your laughter, your appetite, even your balance, they all begin to return. Because this isn't just about nighttime urination. This is about reclaiming your rhythm. There's a rhythm that every elder deserves to fall into. A sacred tempo of rest and rise. Of nourishment and movement. Of community and solitude. Of effort and recovery. And you deserve that rhythm. Not because you were perfect. Not because you did everything right. But because you are still here. Because your story is still being written. And it is never too late to turn the page. So I invite you, if you haven't already, try this tonight. 1 small plate. 1 small step. A handful of spinach with olive oil and garlic. 3 rounds of cucumber in lemon water before sunset. A bowl of roasted zucchini, warm and soft, as the day draws to a close. And as you eat, do not rush. Do not multitask. Close the television. Turn off the noise. And just feel the nourishment return to your bloodstream. This is not a diet. This is a ritual. A way of saying to your body, I hear you. I'm here. I'm ready to help. Let this meal be your medicine. Let it be your invitation back into sleep. Let it be your promise not to be young again, but to be whole again. And if you stumble on this path, if a night comes where you wake again, don't be discouraged. Healing is not linear. It is like the tide, it retreats and returns. But the more you nourish, the more you soothe, the more you slow, the more your body remembers the way back home. The way back to peace. To strength. To stillness. I once read that aging is not about fading, it's about unfolding. And the truth is, your body has not given up on you. It has been speaking to you, patiently, gently, over the years. Through small signals. Through quiet discomforts. Through that third bathroom trip at 2:37 a.m. when you stood barefoot, tired, and wondering if this was just how it had to be now. But it doesn't. Because here's the final truth I'll leave you with. Your body is not asking you for perfection. It is asking you for partnership. To stop treating sleep as optional. To stop eating foods that inflame and confuse. To stop ignoring the whispers until they become screams. Cucumber, zucchini, spinach, they are not cures. They are companions. And when eaten with presence and care, they remind your organs of their natural rhythm. They bring the kidneys peace, the bladder stability, the nervous system calm. But more than that, they bring you back into the conversation. You begin to notice your breath again. You begin to think more clearly by morning. You rise with more balance, less fog, less frustration. And maybe, just maybe, you remember what it feels like to sleep through the night, uninterrupted, with dreams. Now, if you've listened this far, it means something in your heart is stirring. Maybe a flicker of hope. Maybe a bit of sorrow for the years that felt lost. Maybe just the quiet thought. I want that peace again. So here is your gentle call to action, not from a commercial, not from a prescription pad, but from me, your doctor, your advocate. Tonight, eat something green. Eat it not because it's trendy or healthy, but because it's wise. Because it's been part of human healing for centuries. Because it's soft on your organs. And firm in its message, you are still worth caring for. Tonight, give your kidneys a break. Prop up your feet for 10 minutes. Turn off the screens a little earlier. Soak them in warm water with a bit of Epsom salt if you can. Magnesium absorbs through the skin, too. Breathe. Feel the breath not just in your chest but in your lower belly. 4 seconds in. 4 seconds hold. 6 seconds out. Longer if you like. Let it rock you inward. Let it slow the urgency. Let it tell your bladder, you are not in danger anymore. You're safe. You're supported. You're not alone in this. Because there are millions of older adults, just like you, who are tired of the interruptions. Who are hungry for real rest. Who are learning, some for the first time, that healing doesn't come in a rush, but in rhythm. Let your rhythm begin tonight. Let this be your story, not of decline, but of return. Return to dignity. Return to calm. Return to the quiet joy of resting deeply, rising slowly, and living fully. You may not feel young. But you are not finished. You are still becoming. And the body you nourish today will be the body that carries you through tomorrow's sunrise. So eat well. Sleep well. And most of all, remember. Your nights belong to you. Take them back. If this message touched your heart, if it reminded you that your health still matters, don't let it end here. Click subscribe and join a community where your age is honored, your healing is real, and your dignity comes first. Tap the bell so you never miss another moment of truth, nourishment, and hope. And if someone you love is waking up too often in the night, share this with them. Because no senior deserves to suffer in silence. And no night should be stolen without a chance to reclaim it. Your story isn't over. Let's write the next chapter together.